As we continue to report on the aftermath of this terrible aviation tragedy, it's very important for us to get the perspective of experts, those who've been in cockpits, those who've investigated crashes, to actually talk to our viewers in India and across the world about what may have really happened, because we do not wish to speculate. Welcoming Captain Khalid, Ehsan Khalid, onto our coverage here on NDTV. Captain Khalid, these are the two videos that we have right now of the crash itself. And I want to take this one by one very, very slowly. This is a 36-second video that's been taken from somebody's window. You can see the aircraft, descending into the neighborhood there. And this is a 59-second video which captures the entire sequence from takeoff to landing. I want your opening comments. You've seen both these videos. What do they tell you?
All right. So it does tell me, only thing conclusive that I can see is that landing gear has been down throughout.
Yeah.
And landing gear is something that should have been taken up in almost all kind of scenarios that a pilot gets in the aircraft, except when there is a wind shear and the aircraft is committed to continue to descend. So we keep the landing gear down consciously to minimize the...
But we counted the time taken, Captain Khalid, from the time the aircraft lifts off till the time it impacts the ground. It's just 32 seconds.
Right. So that is the amount of time it will take to rotate the aircraft to go up. 825 is a wrong height, 625 is a wrong height. It would not have gone higher than 200 to 250, 30 feet. So the aircraft, when it is taking off, it gets airborne, selects the landing gear up, keeps the flaps are lift augmentation device that allows the aircraft to continue climbing at lower speeds while it is accelerating.
Yes.
So the aircraft gets out of the ground effect. Ground effect meaning, there is a cushion of air between the wing and the ground. It adds to my lift, reduces my drag. So even if the aircraft speed is low, power is low, it will be able to get out to something like 100, 150 feet out of the ground effect. Now the aircraft does not have the ground effect. There is a loss of power, there is speed low. So it is at this place that it has gone out of the ground effect. And now the actual performance of the aircraft, because of its current airspeed, will start to come in.
Right. So at this point of time, you can see the aircraft, instead of it continuing to ascend, it seems to level out and then it starts to descend.
Right. So one thing that can be ruled out is that there was no control jam. Control jam means the aircraft pilot moves the control, it cannot move. It can happen. It does not happen in this case because one of your videos, you will see the aircraft continuing to pitch up.
The nose is up.
Right. So, and that is one of the indication that the aircraft was actively being flown by the pilot. Okay. Now, why the landing gear will not go up? If you have loss of power, then landing gear will not.
Now I want to talk about the flaps. The flaps is another point that has come, up for a lot of debate. And we've got some still images where we're going to zoom into the aircraft. This is Flight 171, Captain Khalid, just before it takes off. And we've got another still image. First, let's just talk for a moment about this image and now this one. It's a very grainy image, and there are many experts who say you cannot tell one way or the other about the takeoff configuration. Does this look like a takeoff configuration to you? Is it something you can tell?
No way. I have also tried to zoom it. I have also tried.
You cannot tell, right?
You cannot say, because all the videos and the still images are
Let's
from a
move
distance.
To the next image. No, continue, sir.
So you cannot make out that the aircraft is having a configuration problem here, but the aircraft automatic system, if the pilot has lined up, and let's assume that the flap is not to the right place, the system has so much of automation, it will shout at you. Flap.
It will not let you take off in a wrong configuration.
Right. It is like, somebody shouting at you, wrong configuration, you can't take off. Okay. So that thing is ruled out. Aircraft has gone up, the flaps, let's assume, I'm pretty certain that the flap is to the configuration.
Let's move to the other video.
And the flap right now is not up. It can happen. This aircraft and many modern aircraft, in fact, all modern aircraft have got flap auto retraction mechanism. And that gets signal from airspeed. It gets signal from electrical system and sensors.
So then I want to ask you the final question then, Captain Khalid, which is, what do you think happened? What do you think happened? You know, these are early hours, I understand that. But what is your best guess as to what may have happened?
I will tell you the most probable thing. Looking at the airfield like Ahmedabad, okay, there were a lot of birds that would cause distraction. Bird hit will cause loss of power, loss of indication system, loss of airspeed system. That will now create situation which is totally out of the book for the pilot. So what pilot did at that point of time is not in the book.
Yeah.
Okay. So and it will also preclude landing gear going up. It can also cause, without any interference from the pilot, flaps going up.
Right, right.
Though, let me tell you that Boeing 787 aircraft, having flown 30 million hours, has not had any of this wrong flap retraction.
Correct.
So, in the field of speculation, we can speculate a lot, but certainly the pilot was actively trying to control the aircraft, and they gave a mayday call. That means they were seeing something which is visually telling them that things are not right.
And we'll know about that once the black box is analyzed.
That is right.
Okay, we've got, you know, on the flaps issue, and this is an evolving story, so it's interesting. And we've got an image showing you. This image that we put together yesterday, this is a generic file image of a 787 taking off, Captain Khalid, where you can see the flaps retracted. This one yesterday,
this flap is to the takeoff position.
Yeah, the takeoff position. That's extended, I mean,
Correct.
not retracted. I beg your pardon. And in this one, there was speculation yesterday about whether this image confirms that the flaps are retracted. But you're saying now that this does not confirm that. This is too unclear an image to say that the flaps are retracted.
There is no way that you could tell from this where it was. Because this aircraft, once it goes, it is at this angle. Once it goes a little more front, this white thing will become absolutely, even in this one, you can't make out.
Yeah. No, it's incredible. So there is no way of telling from just this crash video or these still images whether the flaps played some kind of a role. That's what you're saying?
It's absolutely, from here you can't conclude.
Yeah, you can't conclude.
But the fact remains that the aircraft did not do a successful flight.
Yeah.
There was a loss of lift.
Yeah.
Loss of lift can happen because of loss of airspeed.
Yeah, let's put that video back because we'll conclude with that video of the actual crash itself. This is 32 seconds, Captain Khalid.
Yeah.
Okay, if you start counting from this position when the aircraft actually rotates and lifts off, up until the point of impact where you see the
right now, I don't see anything wrong. Okay. The aircraft is pitched up nicely.
Yeah.
There is no yaw. There is
seems like a normal takeoff.
It seems like a normal takeoff for a heavy aircraft in hot temperature.
Yeah.
Okay. And thereafter, what happens is totally abnormal.
Right.
Okay.
Here's where the abnormal starts because it seems to level out. It's going down at an angle like this. It seems to be, like you rightly said, the nose is being, pitched
actively
up.
Flown.
The yoke is being pulled back by the pilots, and then it just goes down, belly down in that kind of angled up position. So, final comment then.
Final comment is like this: that the aircraft has gone down because there was not sufficient lift.
Yeah.
It can happen because of two reasons. Airspeed was not sufficient. Power was not sufficient. Power not being sufficient can happen because of technical error or bird hit or both.
Correct.
Airspeed not being sufficient for that phase of flight, that means for the flap that it was not sufficient. Or there could be some weather phenomena with wind shear, which we don't see here.
Okay. So the investigation is on right now. The black box is going to be retrieved any moment. Other equipment is also being recovered from the debris site, and hopefully we will have clarity very soon as to how flight AI 171 went down.